Hi, this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and this is Wednesday, April the 4th, or I'm sorry, April the 11th, and this will serve as our chart lesson for today. And you can see by looking at my chart here that we pretty much just had a trading range for the day. We really had a two-legged move in here, but prices spent the majority of the day in this trading range. So I would definitely call this a trading range day. But something I wanted to point out to you, I didn't have this one on here. Something I wanted to point out to you was you can notice pretty much most of the day prices still followed our general price action rules, and I'm not sure how you would draw that. I want to just look at this. I never drew this trend line here, but we got a little trend here. It's just a little short-term trend. But I was wondering if I could get a trend off of this low here. Just see what that trend looks like. I didn't see that earlier, but pretty much the same thing. Doesn't matter whether you drew it off that one or this one, you still get the same line. But anyway, I don't want to take up a whole lot of time today. Tomorrow I'm going to be out of the office and not trading, and so there won't be a chart lesson for tomorrow. Most of you that know me, that have been around for a while, know that my wife is a cancer survivor, and we will be going back as of now. The last 6 months she's been cancer free, and we'll be going for her first checkup for in the last 6 months to just to see how she's doing and make sure that she is still cancer free. And so I just appreciate it if y'all would keep us in mind tomorrow and be thinking about us. And for that reason there won't be a chart lesson, but I'll be back Friday hopefully. And it's about an hour's drive to where we go for her doctor, and it's supposed to take about 2 hours for her test and an hour or two back. And so by the time I get back, the trading day will be done. So no trading, but I'm gonna get into this one since there won't be one Thursday. I'll try to do a detailed one today as I can. And you can see there were a lot of entries today. When these are a lot of people really struggle on days like this. But what I want to tell you is these are the best days. It's so predictable. Look what happened every time prices got down here in this support area. They rallied, and every time they got up here to this resistance area, they sold off. And it's just so predictable. I love these kind of days, and you've got to learn to recognize these if you haven't already, and realize that they're fairly easy trading days. And so I like them. But most people struggle because just about the time they get short, prices reverse, and then they decide about the time it gets up here, it's time to get long. And then what happens, they reverse. They come back down, they try to decide to get short again, and it reverses on them. Comes back up here, and they finally decide to get long again, and it reverses on them again, and they just get chopped all to pieces. And that's what happens to people that don't understand price action, that don't understand that the market, what the market's doing. And all it's doing is just ranging between this strong support area here and this strong resistance area. So when you see these kind of days, make sure if you draw your lines, it's a lot easier to see. But I wanted to point something else out to you too. This early one, you didn't really get a chance. You still had a trend line up through here, so it was fairly easy to follow the trend line on these trades. There was an entry here you probably could have taken if you wanted, but it was so close to the top and so many overlapping bars. I didn't like it. You see, it would have worked. I didn't like it, so I didn't take it, and I didn't mark it either, just because it doesn't, it kind of falls very close on whether it's a good trade based on our trading rules. But I did want to show you this, that, even on these short-term trends, you generally get trend line rules that hold just like always. And look at this trend line. It was holding all the way down here. We had a break. We sold off to a new low, and lo and behold, look what happened. It starts going up. Then we get this trend line going up, and you could have drawn this a couple of different ways, even if you drew it like that right there. That's probably more like it right there. Prices broke it. We reversed, made a new high, and then sold off, just like our rules always say. And we had another trend line coming down through here. We finally broke it right here. We haven't come back and tested a new low, but we may not, because We may not though, because prices have gotten into another trading day, and sometimes that will change the thing. But you can see basically we still got our trend line, and we still got our trend line break rules and all that. So even on the short-term trend, you can generally find your trend line, and you generally can follow the rules of looking for the break and then waiting for a retest, and then looking for the prices to go the other way. And so I did want to point that out. But let's talk about the trades and wrap it up. I need to get out of here a little earlier today. But the first trade was right after the open right here. We had a nice double top. Prices reversed quickly, closed on their low. So you could have gone short right here, and you could have waited till here. It was a little risky waiting here because you look how far that move is. But let me show you what I do when, if a bar gets too long like this, when prices break it, I will drop a limit order back up here to the original place, or maybe even a little higher back up in the middle of this bar, and hope that prices will come back and get me, and still this resistance will hold up here and then move on down. So that's a little trick, and you've seen me, I've done a couple of trades. I demonstrated that. If you haven't seen it, they're out there on YouTube, so look around for it. But basically what you do is, if this is your big bearish bar, as soon as you get that tick back, just drop a limit order up in here, a tick or two ticks back up here to the original spot, and see if prices will come back and execute your ordering, and that way you don't get in way down here. You get in back up here where you still got room to get out and still make some money. So that's just a technique you can think about. But this was a good setup here right after they open, and prices quickly came back down here, and this is where I look to exit, and that's exactly where prices reversed. And when you got this little second double bottom here, this is just another double bottom with a little failed break lower, a little trap that trapped people, and then prices reversed. So you could have gone long right here simply because this was a trap, but if you didn't, when prices pulled back here and then reversed and went higher, there was a good entry right here as well. So entering here or here was okay, and as long as you kept your stop below your entry bar or your signal bar, even if you kept it below your entry bar here, if you entered right here, you still would have been safe. Prices never came down here. So and then you look to exit up here, and this is why a lot of times I'll use a trailing stop, because look, prices did break higher and go another point or so higher, almost 2 points higher. And but I usually, when I know we're in a trading range, I usually exit right around in here and go ahead and take my money, because it's not worth risking it for another point or so, because odds are, even if prices break out, they're going to pull back in here again, and that's exactly what happened. So but the other option is to keep moving your stop up below the low of the next pullback. So you would have been here, if you'd had it here, you would have been safe to catch this run up, and then you had another little pullback right there, and so you would have gotten out right here, which probably would have given you 1 or 2 ticks more, or you could have had an exit order up here. And when you saw this little doji with these, right there, that's a sure sign that prices are reversing. And so at the very least, I would have moved my stop to right here. Probably I would have started when we got up here above. I would start tightening mine up below each bar as it finishes, because there's real strong possibility on any breakout that we're going to pull back and test it, and then you can get long again if it holds and prices go higher. But in this case it didn't, and we went out the other side. So there was a nice entry right up here below that doji, which would have been a great place to exit any runners on this trade, is coming up through here. And again, if you entered here, it wasn't necessarily a bad trade, because it is a two-legged pullback to the EMA. There's one leg back, a move up, and then a second leg back. And if you went to a smaller chart, you'd see 2 legs there, even though this leg is shorter. So if you went long right there, it was okay. It wasn't a great setup because there's just so many overlapping bars there. But the trend's moving up, and we were coming off the trend line, and there was enough room to scalp out really probably before you got here. So if you took that trade, it's probably okay. But let's move over here to this trade. This is, you could have entered right here. This is another one. See, prices are coming off this trend line, and this is a pull back to the EMA and the trend line. So you could have gone short right here. And this is really a breakout pullback short as well, because your support was right there. You had a kind of a triple bottom right there, and then prices broke lower, pulled back, tested that. You can see we couldn't close above that. You notice how that fits in there perfectly. And so going short right there was okay because this was a breakout pullback short. But if you didn't go short there, this is where I would have looked to go short because it's a second entry here. And then you still had plenty of room back down here to the previous support to get out with your scalp. And you can see what happened. Prices bounced right there again. We never got a setup down here. I definitely wouldn't want to go long above any of these bars right here. Because until we touch this, and you can see that by that time there were 4 overlapping bars, 3 of them are doji, so you know that's acceptance of prices right here, and you can see what happened when prices pulled back. We actually had a 2-legged correction back to the EMA, and so this was actually a good short right here too. I was done trading by this time, so I didn't see this trade, and I didn't mark it, but I probably should have. I'm gonna go ahead and mark this one. In case anybody comes back to review it, just so it's pretty clear. That's a good short right there because there's also a trap. I just missed this one earlier. You can clearly see those 2 legs. 1 leg up, pull back, 2nd leg up, a big reversal. Prices broke higher first here, I believe, and then a reversal that closed down here. And so that's a 2-legged pullback to the EMA in a downtrending market. It's the first break of that trend line down through there. So there was a good chance we were coming back down to at least test these lows right in here. And you can see we even went lower than that. And so you could have got a couple of 3 points out of this move right here. So that's definitely a good entry. Then we had a reversal with a long right here, another short trap. There was actually a long down here, but I didn't like this setup because it was risky. We did have a trend line break, but a lot of times you'll get 2 legs down, but we had a double bottom and we had a trend line break. So if you went long right here, it was okay, but I didn't mark it because I don't like the setup because we were still below this support area, and this could have easily held and prices went lower for another leg down equal to this one right here, and that's what I was thinking probably would happen, but it didn't. So we had a little short trap right here. Prices tried to go lower, and we closed back in here, and so you could have gone long here. And if you didn't go long right here, when we double tested that support area and went and closed higher, you know prices are probably coming back up here to test the highs, and the highs were really back up here, and that's where you can see that's where the highs were, and that's exactly where we went to. So this was another good setup, looking for prices to come back. You wouldn't have got a runner, and you would have got stopped out on any runners before you got here, but all the same, this was a good entry right here and an easy scalp. And then when we tested this yet a 3rd time and went higher, that's definitely a great entry right there. And you can see that moved pretty quickly back to the top, and we did finally touch the top up there. And again, prices reversed right off that top, right off that resistance area where they've been reversing all day. I mean, it held to the tick. So going short right there was a good trade, and you can see. And this one was questionable. If you went short there, it's okay, but it's questionable because it's such a long bar. We did come off. We didn't really have a trend line yet. It did set the trend line for the rest of this move down, but prices went higher, reversed, and closed on this low. That's a big bearish bar. So if you did go short there, for you guys that like to take the risk, it was probably worth it, and you can see it did work. But I didn't mark it because it's, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 overlapping bars. It's kind of a congestion area, but it is a failed break out of that, and it is a huge reversal bar that closed all the way down here on its very low. There's just not a lot of room here. If you'd moved your stuff down here, which you should have more than likely after this low right here, then it looks a whole lot better, and you can see prices did run down there and almost got to that level and pulled back, and then we actually did come on down and break that level too. So, but this was a good setup right here because we did have our trend line in place, and now we came right off the trend line. It's a 2-legged pull back to the EMA and the trend line, in what's a lower, a trending market. And let me show you this. You see this measured leg here. You should have been looking for the same type leg over here, and if you put that over there, look, what do you know, right down there to the same level. So it was, in fact, it may be a perfect measured move. Let me just get that. I'm going to get it and get a perfect measurement and just see. But there it is from high to low, and there it is from high to low, and it went one tick further. And so you can see you need to always look for these measured legs. And if you went to a bigger chart, you can see a clear two-legged move right there. And so this was another good entry with the expectation that prices were going to at least test this and probably break lower even if they failed, which they did, or tried to anyway. They failed enough that it probably would have trapped a lot of people. But that was pretty much it. By the time we got into here, it was late in the day, 2:30. So I didn't mark anything past that, and it really was not much going on anyway. But hopefully you had a good trading day today, and I hope everybody trading tomorrow has a great day as well. And remember, I won't be here tomorrow. I appreciate it if y'all keep me in your thoughts and prayers, and for my wife anyway, and we'll get a good checkup and everything will go well for her. And hopefully I'll be back Friday to trade myself and to do another chart lesson before we go into the weekend. So, but I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and good trades to everybody. We'll see you Friday.